Greetings and welcome to the Southside Help Center Show. I am your host, Mr. Harold Cherry from the Southside Help Center. And my guest today is Ericka. Ericka is the Youth Development Coordinator for the Southside Help Center, and she coordinates all of our youth programs. We had on a couple of weeks ago. We got great reviews, and we wanted to have her back. There's a couple of reasons that we wanted to have her back, and we're going to talk about those things. This is a live call-in show. If you have any questions, give us a call here at the station. Our number here, 312-738-1060. 312-738-1060. And before we go any further, we would like to thank all of our listeners and our viewers. We got a couple of names we want to mention. Miss Rosemary Pennington. We would like to miss Miss Clayton, Miss Tanisha Clayton, Jade and Jada. All of our, without you guys, we can't make this show work. Miss Esther, we know you're out there too, so we thank you guys for tuning in. So now we can continue on. We got to make sure we do our housekeeping stuff and make sure that we touch bases with our fans, because without them, the show could not exist. One of the things that we've been talking about is the violence prevention piece, and we've been talking about what we can do to bring down the violence here in the city of Chicago. And the thing that I always talk about is alternative programming, because with programming, again, we talked about cultivation before, and we'll continue to talk about that, because we think as long as the seeds are planted, cultivated, and then they can grow, I think that we'll do better with our youth. So some of the stuff that we want to talk about today will be cultivation and alternative programming. And this is what Ericka's here, because she is definitely in charge of our youth programs, and we're going to have her go through what those programs are real quickly. Ericka?
Okay, we have our adolescent program, which is basically for ages 10 through 12, and then we have a high school program, which is for 13 through 17, and we have a mentoring program as well, which is males and females, and we have 4 different groups. We have ages 10 through 12 for male and female, and we have ages 13 through 17 for male and female.
Okay, tell us, when do those the programs, when do they function?
As a matter of fact, our after-school program began Monday, which was the 20th.
Hold on. So Monday the 20th, it started?
Yes.
So you can bring your how old children?
10.
To what?
17.
Your 10 to 17 children, you can bring them to the Southside Help Center, not today, but tomorrow, when Ericka will be back in the office, and get them enrolled. We cannot say enough how important it is that we get the early involvement, because the after-school programs are phenomenal. I mean, they are truly dynamic, because one, it gives you your children something to do. 2, it helps with homework and making sure that they're on point with their studies. The earlier you get them involved and engaged in these programs, the better they are. We can't always wait until you see those grades drop or them struggling and then get them involved in the program. So you guys got started on Monday.
Yes.
And all they have to do is what in order to get them involved?
Come in and fill out an application. There is no fee. There is no registration fee, so it is free for the students. And it is a life skills, leadership, team building environment. We also do homework assistance. We take field trips. There's mentoring, so there's that one-on-one interaction between the staff at Southside Help Center as well as the student. So it's not just from 3 to 5, Monday through Friday. There are Saturday activities. There are weekend field trips, especially if the child gets into the mentoring. They could have day-to-day conversations. The mentor could be a part of the parent-teacher conferences. The mentor could be there to pick up report cards. It's just an interactive relationship between the student and the staff at Southside.
Absolutely. One of the things I talked about, because oftentimes as single parents, a lot of women believe that they are the mother and the father of that child, and I disagree, but that's another conversation. There's a mother and there's a father, but the thing that I always believed, that it was all about the exposure, because even though you may have been a great mother and doing everything that you can to get that kid what they needed in order to grow into what they have become, it's always going to depend on exposure, because exposure, it may not have been you, but you may have exposed them to some positive male role models, be that at school, be that at church. Somewhere they saw something that gave them some type of idea what it was to be a positive male or a positive role model. And that's what we're trying to provide at the Southside Help Center. So we have a lot of single parents that do need this assistance, that do need some type of mentoring. So please, please, please do not hesitate to bring the kids. We're located on 104th and Halsted. That's 10420 South Halsted. We have been doing mentoring and HIV prevention education. I'm talking about when I first came to Southside Help Center, it was 1992, and I was doing workshops, and they were doing mentoring, they were doing after school programs. Miss Valerie Smith Reed, she was the coordinator of those programs at that time, and she was doing a phenomenal job. And even still, we got the Valerie Smith Reed Scholarship Fund, where we've been sending countless kids to colleges and universities as a result of that. So the Southside Help Center has been providing mentoring for a lot of years. Also, Mr. Philip Hampton, he was heading up the mentoring program back at that time. He's now, last I checked, he was heading up the 311 at the city of Chicago. So mentoring at the Southside Health Center has a long history, and we have a great track record for mentoring that's male and female. So it's so very important that you get your youth involved in the mentoring programs. Now, you talked about from 10 to 17. We also have other programs that deal with a little bit older youth. Talk about that program a little bit.
We have the program where we go into the schools. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, well, I know it's a CREATE program that also deals with...
That's the high school.
That's the high school.
So that would be the ages of 13 through 17. Mm-hmm. And they do, in that program, the students participate in a lot of peer leadership. Mm-hmm. They participate in a lot of team building activities. It promotes poetry, writing, dancing, and singing. More so artsy type of activities as an alternative to violence. And also some of the students in the CREATE program, they take the time to mentor some of the younger students who are in 5th and 6th grade. So they have an opportunity to give back and to build relationships and to help bridge the gap.
Right. If you have any questions about any of these programs that we're providing at the center, please give us a call here at the station, 738-1060, and we'll do our best to answer them. What's that school, Juilliard? Ain't that the school where they got that's the School of the Arts, right?
Yes.
Well, we're not Juilliard, don't get me wrong, but we truly believe in exposing our kids to as much as we possibly can. And when you start talking about Juilliard and School of the Arts, when you start talking about spoken word, so many of our kids are very talented, but we have to bring that talent out. We also have to provide them with the exposure. I mean, for many years, our youth have written so many creative plays and skits and actually performed them. So this is a phenomenal program. If your youth or young people need something to do, send them to Ericka. Ericka is a phenomenal facilitator, and she has a number of people who are going to be assisting her with these programs. So please, if you have a youth, a young person that needs some other alternative programming, a little bit more direction, bring them to the center, get them in touch with Ms. Dawson, and she will make sure that they start to get the guidance that they need, be that spoken word, be that in drama, that sort of thing. This is just a simple extension of what they may be doing in school, or a simple extension of what you would like for them to do. It's just all about exposure. So please get involved with the program, and we have open enrollment. All you have to do is come up to the center. That's 104th and Halsted, 10420 South Halsted. Speak with Ms. Ericka Dawson about the programming. Get those kids involved. We
also provide homework assistance. And we have interns that come from these surrounding Chicagoland community colleges as well as universities. They come to Southside Help Center, and they tutor the students in subjects that they are having difficulty in, as well as continue to push them in subjects that they are not having difficulty in. Academic assistance is something that we definitely pride ourselves in, and we do recognize the students for their great performance. If you have a 3.0 GPA or higher, there is recognition given to the students for that, as well as maybe an award or some type of incentive to continue to work hard, to continue to do the best that they can. So as well as being able to express yourself through creative arts, we also provide academic assistance as well.
Absolutely. And oftentimes, we talk about what's going on in our community in terms of problems, in terms of what our kids may or may not be doing, and some of the things they're getting exposed to. We start talking about gangs and other outside entities. So now we have to talk about what we can do to actually bring those numbers down, and it is alternative programming. So we cannot say enough how important it is that we get our young people involved. She mentioned volunteers that come from the universities and city colleges and so forth. And here's the other thing. thing. We always need volunteers. We need people who are positive role models. We need people who are doing the right thing so that our young people can see other things that are going on, so that they can get good direction as to what they should be doing. Meaning, male role models mean understanding what it is to actually go to work, what it is to actually be responsible. Alternative programming, especially for our young ladies. We got mentoring programs. Talk about the the female mentoring program a little bit, because it is vital that our young women get involved in mentoring early on so that they can learn and get those seeds planted. We talked about cultivation. Plant the seeds, the right seeds, and a lot of times, and this is why we talk about with parenting, I always talk about our parents having the right information, getting the right information, and getting and staying involved. This is just an extension. While you're at work, you know your kids can have someplace safe. You know your kids can have someplace where they're going to get good direction. So we want parents to understand and become involved in the programming, because it's so important that we become a community organization. We're a community organization, but we have to have community in order to be that. So it's so important that so many of our parents get involved in the mentoring programs. Female mentoring. Talk about it a little bit, Ericka.
Well, we have two separate groups, like I previously stated. We have the group that is from ages 10 to 12. And in that group, we deal with puberty, young ladies. Your body is going through a lot of changes, and accept those changes and know that you are beautiful in those changes. Don't be insecure about those changes. We do a lot of arts and crafts. The young ladies, they love to make jewelry. They love to make jewelry boxes, things like that. Anything that we can talk to them about being positive. We do talk to the younger ladies about sex, about STDs, about HIV. We talk to them about boyfriends and relationships, or girlfriends and relationships. Either way it goes, we talk to them about life and how to build the skills that you need to navigate through life, because sometimes life can be difficult, especially as a 13, 14-year-old girl. Absolutely. Growing up, trying to accept yourself. It can be difficult, especially if you don't have the support at home from a mother or a father. If you're being bounced back and forth, foster care, different homes, in and out, it can be very difficult, and you need some support. So we provide that. Then there's the 13 through 17-year-old group, and with that group, we deal with a lot of peer pressure issues, a lot of self-identity when you're in and out of high school, the different cliques and just the socializing part, because if you get involved with the wrong group of young ladies, then one bad decision can ruin your life. Absolutely. We talk about relationships and teen pregnancy, dating, once again, STDs and HIV. There's just an array of topics that we discuss with them. Decision making, anger management, stress. Lots of our teens, they get frustrated with everyday life. I mean, it's got to be frustrating to be afraid to walk to school. Absolutely. That's got to be stressful. So they have to have somewhere or someone to show them how to navigate that stress, how to deal with it in a positive way, how not to get involved with negative behavior due to the stress. And some of it is the stress that they have not created for themselves. It's just their environment. Absolutely. It has been created for them. Absolutely. So it's just a life skills program. Basically, that's what it is. We take the girls on trips, and we talk to them about getting along with each other, about being sisters for each other and supporting each other, and accepting everyone's differences. Absolutely. And this is an incredible program, because the one thing that she did mention was peer pressure, and we really need to define what peer pressure is, because I tell you, peer pressure is so very real that it can take 5 minutes of peer pressure to tear down 16 years of hard work. I talk about this experience I had not too long ago, where I went and did some testing at a university. Excuse me. And this was a female youth program. So what they did was they invited a lot of female youth from all over to come in and be a part of this program. And we did HIV testing. This is how real this is, and I'm saying this because we really need to take advantage of any programs we have so that our young people can get the necessary information to deal with alternative programming, to deal with sexual responsibility, to deal with peer pressure. I tested, it was like 15 young ladies that I actually tested for HIV, and it was 15 of them, and of the 15, 14 of them were sexually active. And amongst the 14, now mind you, they're all 16 and under.
None of them 17, 18. All 16 and under, all sexually active, all who have been with multiple partners at one time, and there were several who had babies already. So there was an array of things going on. You're talking about an age of 16. All of this had taken place. That's why we want to talk about sexual responsibility. That's why we talk about procreation in its intent. That's why we talk about alternative programming, because peer pressure is so very strong that they need some alternatives.
Right.
Because you have to understand, when the pressure gets on them to make an unwise decision, they need something to combat that. And that's what mentoring does. It gives you some alternatives to having sex. And here's the other thing that they rarely ever talk about. Just because you may have been sexually active one time does not mean you have to continue. Abstinence just does not acquire, or does not happen when you're a virgin or you've never been sexually active. You can become abstinent at any time. And that's something that we have to make sure we teach our young people. Just because you may have made a mistake or a bad decision or an unwise decision, classified however you choose, but just because you made a bad decision does not mean you have to continue to making those decisions. Because you've been sexually active one, you don't have to continue to be sexually active. You can definitely abstain and become abstinent. And again, when we talk about HIV prevention and STDs, no sex, no drugs, no problem. That is the only 100% way not to contract STDs or HIV. No sex, no drugs, no problem. Anything else is safer. But just remember, just because you may have engaged in sexual behavior once does not mean you have to continue. And this is something, as parents, we have to continue to teach. We have to continue to talk about, because it's so very important that they understand, yes, you may have made a bad decision, but you do not have to continue to make the bad decisions, because from bad decisions, bad results come. So although you may have escaped them this time, you never know what's going to happen. So just because you made a bad decision or unwise decision does not mean you have to continue to.
Yeah. I think just to piggyback on what you said, I think it's important that we discuss with young ladies and young men is that, you have the right to define who you are for yourself.
Absolutely.
You don't have to define who you are to fit any category, to fit any clique or any group or any gang or any neighborhood or any classification. You have the right to define who you are for yourself, who you are and what makes you most comfortable. Not who you are and what makes others most comfortable. You have the right to define for yourself. So just like you said, if you did have sex, if a child has sex once, they have the right to say, okay, now I'm going to be abstinent. They don't have to follow on what the world says, and the world says, okay, well, you can't be abstinent now. You're not a virgin because you've had sex. No, you have the right to define who you want to be for yourself.
Right. Absolutely. It's so important. If you have any questions, parents, give us a call here at the station. Our number here, 312-738-1060. If you would like to get involved and like for your youth to get involved in our programs, you can give us a call at the agency. That number is 773-445-5445. You can get Miss Dawson at extension
4251.
4251, or just come in. You can just come in. We'll direct you to our youth department, and they will get you set up so that you and your children can definitely get involved in some of these alternative programs. That's what we're talking about today. This is the Southside Help Center show. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. We're talking about alternative programming, some things that we can do as a community to bring down those crime rates. It's so important that our children get the proper exposure. It's so important that they have alternatives to the street. And yeah, from the time they get out of school to up until about 5 o'clock at the center, they can definitely find some different things to do. And believe me, we have dedicated youth professionals. A lot of times they be there far belong or far after the 5 o'clock hour. So don't think that they just running out of 5, because they don't. Then they have programs that last even longer, where they have after school programs. And I know that they've been there 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the evening with these youth. So it's so important that we get our youth involved. It's so important. If they living in your house and under your roof, you still have control. Give them some alternative programming so that we can definitely try to give them some alternatives to the streets, alternative to that peer pressure, making good decisions for themselves, defining who they are, because ultimately, even as parents, our jobs is to teach them right from wrong, give them morals and values, and give them choices and options. But ultimately, they have to make good decisions. So we want to prepare them as best we can. With your help, with our help, we want to prepare them as best we can so that when it's time come to make a good decision, they are prepared and qualified to make that decision. Caller, you're on the air. You're on the air, caller. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi. I think we're having a little technical difficulties. But remember, we're talking about preparations. We talked about cultivation, and cultivation is my thing, is once we plant the seeds, again, it's just like if you have a plant. Say you plant the seed, you have a rose bush or whatever. What you do is you plant the seed, and then you watch that seed grow. That means each day you go out, you go to water it. If you see it start to grow to the side, what we do then is we provide support. That means we take a stick and stick it down there, one that's standing straight up, and we'll wrap a string around it so that it can grow up straight. And the thing about growing straight is once it gets a straight and strong foundation, now it can blossom into any direction it chooses. Remember, if you don't and it starts to grow like this, you start to limit the choices and the options that they have. And that's why we're talking about cultivation. That means we're going to turn the dirt if it needs to be turned, and we're going to make sure that they get a stick beside them if they need a stick. We're going to put some twine around them if they need it, to make sure that they get the best options and get the best start possible. We're talking about programs at the Southside Help Center that we have been doing since 1992. If you have any questions, give us a call. Hit the station. That number is 312-738-1060. If you'd like to get involved in our programs, you can call Ericka, Dawson, at the Southside Help Center at extension
4251,
or you can just come in. We're located 10420 South Halstead. We've been doing this for quite some time, and we have so many young people who have been quite successful and continue to come back to our programs and continue to talk about the start that we've given them. We have some that are now involved in law enforcement, where they're talking about probation. They're either detectives. We have some that are involved in social work, that are providing services for other individuals now. We have some that are still in college, a lot of who just went to college as a result of the programs we offer. So I can't say enough how valuable the Southside Help Center has been in its holistic approach to youth, and violence prevention, and having alternative programs, and dealing with the schools. And Ericka and her staff goes into the schools every day to provide some type of services. If your school is not involved, then you need to get involved as well. Just talk about those school-based programs and the school-based initiative again, and what you guys doing in the schools.
Okay. We go into the schools, and we usually sit with the students maybe for about 40 minutes or so, and we talk to them about the same things we talk about in the mentoring group: life skills, decision making, STDs, gang violence, stress, anything that will once again help the students to get through life. The school is there to teach them academics. Southside Help Center comes in to teach life.
Absolutely.
And you got to learn life, because this is something that you're going to go through until your final day comes. So you need someone or something to help you navigate through it. And just to let you all know, we are in open enrollment. We are looking for new participants in our after school program. It is Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And on Wednesdays, we're there till 6 p.m. So there's an array of activities that we can provide for the students. Once again, it is free. All you have to do is come in, fill out an application, and start your student. That's all you have to do.
We got a call. Let's take this call, and then we want to talk a little bit about stress in young people. Caller, you're on the air. Yes, you're on the air, caller.
Hello?
Yes. Hi.
All right. I have a 13-year-old brother, and I was wondering...
You got to turn your TV down just a little bit for me.
More involved into a youth program.
Well, what you can do is you say you have a 13-year-old brother, so I'm assuming that you're rather young yourself. You can just have your parent come up to the center and get them enrolled in the program. All you have to do is talk to Miss Dawson. She's gonna she'll be there every day. So just come in, and if she's not there, we have other youth staff that will get you guys directed and get you enrolled into the program. It's so very important that you guys come out, get involved in alternative programming. It is vital. One of the things that she mentioned was stress in youth. We as parents get a lot of stress, so we miss or forget or don't think that the young people have to deal with stress. And in actuality, they have a lot of stress, and sometimes it's very stressful getting to and from school. So we have to talk about those things and what they can do as alternatives, and what you can do to help them and strengthen who they are. It's so very important that as parents, we get involved in these kids' lives and get involved in these programs and get involved in the Southside Help Center. Our time is running short. I'd like to thank Miss Ericka Dawson, our youth program coordinator, for coming out and giving you guys some insight. We have open enrollment. Our address, 10420 South Halsted. Please come in, get those young people involved in the program, and see. Until we see you again, we'd like to bid you peace.